Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The act of disrupting an established order so it fails to continue. His warning came after the breakdown of talks in London. A cessation of normal operation. There was a power breakdown. An analysis into mutually exclusive categories. Biology, the process of decay caused by bacterial or fungal action. A mental or physical breakdown. The act of disrupting an established order so it fails to continue. The social dislocations resulting from government policies. An event that results in a displacement or discontinuity. A displacement of a part, especially a bone, from its normal position, as in the shoulder or the vertebral column. A cessation of normal operation. An analysis into mutually exclusive categories. The act of dividing or partitioning. Separation by the creation of a boundary that divides or keeps apart. In a decomposed state. Biology, the process of decay caused by bacterial or fungal action. The organic phenomenon of rotting. The analysis of a vector field. Chemistry, separation of a substance into two or more substances that may differ from each other and from the original substance. A state of decay usually accompanied by an offensive odor. Biology, the process of decay caused by bacterial or fungal action. Moral perversion, impairment of virtue and moral principles. Rome had fallen into moral putrefaction. Unacceptable behavior, especially ludicrously false statements. A state of decay usually accompanied by an offensive odor. Biology, the process of decay caused by bacterial or fungal action. Become physically weaker. Break down. Biology, the process of decay caused by bacterial or fungal action. A mental or physical breakdown. A disposition that is confused or nervous and upset. Activity that is a malfunction, intrusion, or interruption. The term, distress, connotes some degree of perturbation and emotional upset. The act of causing disorder. An unhappy and worried mental state. Physics, a secondary influence on a system that causes it to deviate slightly. An act of delaying or interrupting the continuity. A disorderly outburst or tumult. An event that results in a displacement or discontinuity. The act of causing disorder. A person with a record of failing. Someone who loses consistently. Inability to discharge all your debts as they come due. Fraudulent loans led to the failure of many banks. An act that fails. His failure to pass the test. An event that does not accomplish its intended purpose. The surprise party was a complete failure. An unexpected omission. He resented my failure to return his call. Lack of success. He felt that his entire life had been a failure. Loss of ability to function normally. Kidney failure. A set of techniques for exploring underlying motives and a method of treating various mental disorders, based on the theories of Sigmund Freud. His physician recommended psychoanalysis. The abstract separation of a whole into its constituent parts in order to study the parts and their relations. A branch of mathematics involving calculus and the theory of limits, sequences and series and integration and differentiation. A form of literary criticism in which the structure of a piece of writing is analyzed. An investigation of the component parts of a whole and their relations in making up the whole. The use of closed class words instead of inflections, e.g., the father of the bride, instead of the bride's father. The abstract separation of a whole into its constituent parts in order to study the parts and their relations. The spontaneous disintegration of a radioactive substance along with the emission of ionizing radiation. The organic phenomenon of rotting. Lose a stored charge, magnetic flux, or current. Fall into decay or ruin. The unoccupied house started to decay. A gradual decrease, as of stored charge or current. An inferior state resulting from the process of decaying. The corpse was in an advanced state of decay. The process of gradually becoming inferior. Undergo decay or decomposition. The body started to decay and needed to be cremated. An abrupt failure of function or complete physical exhaustion. The commander's prostration demoralized his men. Abject submission. The emotional equivalent of prostrating your body. The act of assuming a prostrate position. Suffer a nervous breakdown. The act of throwing yourself down. Break down, literally or metaphorically. The wall collapsed. An abrupt failure of function or complete physical exhaustion. A sudden large decline of business or the prices of stocks, especially one that causes additional failures. Cause to burst. Collapse due to fatigue, an illness, or a sudden attack. Fall apart. A natural event caused by something suddenly falling down or caving in. The roof is in danger of collapse. Fold or close up. Collapse the music stand. Lose significance, effectiveness, or value. The stock market collapsed. A wrong action attributable to bad judgment or ignorance or inattention. I could understand his English in spite of his grammatical faults. An imperfection in an object or machine. The quality of being inadequate or falling short of perfection. He knew his own faults much better than she did. Geology. A crack in the Earth's crust resulting from the displacement of one side with respect to the other. They built it right over a geological fault. Put or pin the blame on. Electronics. Equipment failure attributable to some defect in a circuit, loose connection or insulation failure or short circuit, etc. It took much longer to find the fault than to fix it. Responsibility for a bad situation or event. It was John's fault. Sports. A serve that is illegal, e.g., that lands outside the prescribed area. He served too many double faults. An event that fails badly or is totally ineffectual. The meeting was a dud as far as new business was concerned. An explosion that fails to occur. Someone who is unsuccessful. Failing to detonate, especially not charged with an active explosive. He stepped on a dud mine. Engine does not run. An explosion that fails to occur. A failure to hit, or meet or find, etc. Fail to fire or detonate. The guns misfired. Equipment failure resulting when the supply of power fails. The ice storm caused a power outage. Brakes fail to stop a vehicle. Equipment failure resulting when the supply of power fails. A temporary suspension of operation, as of computers. There will be a network outage from 8 to 10 a.m. The amount of something, as whiskey or oil, lost in storage or transportation. The trait of being resolute. It was his unshakable resolution to finish the work. Analysis into clear-cut components. A formal expression by a meeting. Agreed to by a vote. A statement that solves a problem or explains how to solve the problem. Finding a solution to a problem. The ability of a microscope or telescope to measure the angular separation of images that are close together. Something settled or resolved. The outcome of decision-making. They never did achieve a final resolution of their differences. A decision to do something or to behave in a certain manner. He always wrote down his New Year's resolutions. Computer science. The number of pixels per square inch on a computer-generated display. The greater the resolution, the better the picture. Music. A dissonant chord is followed by a consonant chord. The subsidence of swelling or other signs of inflammation, especially in a lung. Analysis into clear-cut components. A severe or incapacitating emotional disorder. The science that studies living organisms. All the plant and animal life of a particular region. Characteristic life processes and phenomena of living organisms. The biology of viruses. The science that studies living organisms.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.